here. Okay, there you go. So we are ready to rock and roll. We have a special guest here. Well, not a special guest, she's part of our team, but we have a story that we're sharing. We're gonna talk a little bit with Brandy. Brandy's gonna talk a little bit about her story, her journey. And but I do have a couple of announcements for you guys. I just want to listen. Today, I saw a question in the Zaya marketing group. Somebody said, "What's enrollment?" And I'm like, we, this may be new for some people. So we always have to think, how can we break down the information in a way that anybody and everybody can get it, right? Like nobody stays behind because they didn't know the information. How how wrong would it be that somebody comes back and says, "Oh, I wish I had known about the promo. I wish I had known that I could have earned that." Do you know what I mean? So if you guys have teammates, if you guys are promoting the bonus, the gold digger bonus, all of these things, don't assume. And even with party, when you tell people, "Hey, book a party," think people don't know what I'm talking about. Like, try to always explain a little bit more, kind of like if you were dealing with kindergartners. But it's like, if you're, not to be insulting, but just think it is a new concept for people. So always try to like break it down. Like, what is enrollment? Like, when you enroll people under you on your team. So that was like a little bit of like you don't know what enrollment is? That's interesting. So think, if somebody new on your team, they may not know. They may have joined you because they love the clothes, they wanted the discount, and now there may be an opportunity where they're like, I want to try and see what that is. So to explain that, so for anybody who's newer, if you're like one of our kindergartners, like you're like, I'm new here, I've never done anything. We all had a day zero. There was a day in my life where I had no clue what this business was about. As a matter of fact, it took me like, let me think, about 6 months to comprehend. And now with Saya, but I was with another company before, but it took me about 6 months to understand how this whole thing worked. I thought, oh, I sell product, I'm gonna make some commission. Cool, I make some extra cash. I didn't understand the concept of building a team and what that meant, and plugging people into a system and all that. Like, I had no idea. I was just excited about a product and about a community that I wanted to share with people. And if I was making a little bit of extra money in the process, I was happy. If I got a check on Thursdays, I was super excited. I didn't know past that, but it was because I was a kindergartner. I didn't know my ABCDs of this industry. So don't assume that people know what you're talking about. Don't think, oh, I've talked about it already. Always think somebody new is gonna bump into your story where you're asking people to have a party. Assume that there's somebody new that has never seen any of your posts, and they're like, "What do you mean a community? What do you mean your business? What do you mean this? Like, what exactly do you do?" Okay, so with that being said, let's talk a little bit about the bonus. And if anybody has any questions about it, please comment in the chat or raise your hand. If you can, I want to invite you guys to turn your cameras on. Listen, I worked out at 5:45 this morning. I haven't showered. My hair is a mess. It's fine. I see you, but like, I see some of you are driving, some of you are cooking, some of you are, I don't know, whatever. Turn on your cameras. We want to see your faces. We want to see you. Yeah? It's just weird just seeing a bunch of names. So don't feel intimidated. Now, if you are doing something where you want to, it's okay. We respect your privacy. Exactly, Gina. That's perfectly fine. So, okay, so what are we doing for the bonus? I want to just say, you guys, this is a very, very exciting opportunity. It is a big deal. And I will say it, it is not easy. It is meant to be a challenge. It is meant to make us uncomfortable in a way. It's like, okay, you have to be intentional about your actions every single day. Like, okay, I need weekly goals, breaking it down. Like, okay, what is the goal? The goal is 3 reps, enroll 3 personally sponsored reps, and sell 2,500 in the month. So maybe you've been a big seller before, like you sell very high volume, but you haven't sponsored many people. If your goal is to hit that bonus, and I'm not going to say don't sell a lot, but I'm also going to say if you sold a lot of those people that have purchased from you, they guaranteed you'll find people in the group of customers that have purchased from you. You will find people who haven't even thought about the idea of becoming a rep because they don't know about it yet. So go back and tell them about it. Go back and say, hey, you hosted a party in the past. Your friends loved it. We had a really decent party, or we had a successful party. You had an awesome party. You love the clothes. Have you ever thought about, or have you ever considered being a rep and doing what I do? You guys, it's super simple. That's all you have to say. Hey, somebody asks you right now, hey, I wanna have a party, or hey, can you send me your link? I wanna buy those leggings, or whatever. Always like add the question, hey, by the way, would you also be open to looking into the rep opportunity? Like right now, today, I was on the treadmill, I was at the gym, and somebody so casually, this is a friend, and it's the first time I see her at the gym, and she said, oh, remember, I was told her that I've been having some like health issues, whatever. So I said, no, I'm taking it easy, and she said, well, I remember that I have all these immune, she said something about the products that she sells, like very casually. I don't get mad. I'm like, you know what? She has something that she sees it as, you know what? I have a product that can help you. I didn't get mad. I don't get upset. So don't think that you're going to upset people asking them if they're open to looking into an opportunity, into hosting a party or something, okay? Think about how they're going to benefit from it. Talk to them about it, and just simply ask the question. Remove your emotions from what their answer is going to be. Like they say yes, cool, awesome, I'm excited to share this with you. If they say no, simply say, hey, cool, not a problem. Would you know of anybody? Do you know of anybody? Can you think of anybody that maybe would be interested in this? If you think of anybody, let me know, send them my way. Like ask for referrals. It's thing. So this is the time, like this is right now, being very intentional about asking as many people as you can, and a little bit more, okay? And so that is it. Now, the other thing, the tank top challenge. Wow, how many of you, so many entries going through all of it. See, I am more on the impulsive side, you guys, so bear with me. When I launch something, I'm like, we got this. And for the most part, I cross the bridge as we walk it. I don't have like a super, I am intentional with the things I do, but not necessarily have like a detailed plan on how they're going to be executed. Okay, so this week, going through all the entries. So the sneaker giveaways are going to happen. I am thinking we're going to be done with the entries. I want to make sure that everybody gets their, the right entries that you enter. Whatever you entered, you're going to get it, because each tank top that you sold is an entry for you. So there were like really high numbers. So everybody's going to get their entries. Just bear with me. The latest, the drawing will be on Friday, okay? But my goal is tomorrow. Just bear with me. We're gonna get that done, but that was really cool. It's so fun to see how the numbers were just like bam, bam, bam. I'm like, holy moly, every time I open the file, it's like like, oh God, counting all these things is gonna be really cool. But it is really cool. I don't mind it. I love it. And what else? If I could, I would send every single one of you a pair of Nike shoes. Those Nike, it's gonna be hard. But Summit is coming up. Get your virtual ticket. Get your in-person ticket. If you haven't, if you have the ability, if you haven't thought about it, give it some thought. Maybe you can find a ticket to go to Utah to the summit. It's happening in a couple of weeks. I'm so excited. Who's going to Summit in person? Raise your hand. We can see your hands. We can see your faces. Oh my gosh, so excited. I'm going to be able to hug so many of you. I can't think it. You guys, I'm bad. I'm sorry. Okay. And there's also virtual. So there's no excuses. There's no reason why you cannot be plugged in and connected to the event, whether it is virtual or it's in person. Do it. Do it, do it, do it. Be part of it. Lean into the community. Get close to the campfire, because we all need to build our belief. We all need, it's like, it's so hard to give you a recap of what happened. So I'll tell you something. Many of you here, I'm seeing some of your faces all tanned and looking good because you just came back from Mexico. Yeah, from the Riviera Maya trip, right? So you guys, you experience something that you can't put into words. Am I right? Like, you're excited, you're sharing it. It's like coming out of your pores, but there's still something that if you are not there, you just can't, like, it's like, oh, cool, like, awesome. I'm so excited for you. But it's like, it's something that it's hard to say it. You have to live it. So whether it's virtual or in person, make it happen. That when is Summit? Anybody have the dates? August 25th, 26th. I don't know my dates. I don't know what I had for lunch, you guys. If anybody has the dates, please tell me below.
I can't wait. I can't wait to meet you, Paula.
Huh? What was that?
I can't wait to meet you.
Oh my God, I'm gonna hug you so hard. Get ready for that.
Paula, you know what I heard? For every person that you can get to Summit, it's like 10,000 in PV. It's worth. It's going to be incredible. It's going to be so motivating for your team.
Yeah, it is. We all need to. There's a lot of news coming up. There's a lot of things that are coming. You want to be first to know. You have to build belief. You don't just sign up and you're like, oh my God, I'm 100% in, right? It's like kind of like you're dating Zaya, and you need to get to know Zaya better. And once you hear from the owners, when you hear from like everybody, it's like a recipe. So it's like, you know what? Okay, let's go. Like, you're dating. Yeah, it's like we're dating Zaya, right? And like everything that you do, it's like every win with the business, it's like, oh, okay, I think I like this. Okay. And then you know how some people marry the same night? Like for some people, it just clicks on the first day. For some people, they need more time. And that's why there's people who haven't gotten married. And it's been like 10 years dating because they're still not sure. So the more you get involved, the better. So I think I made enough of a point with that. So, and then the other thing is, I think that's it. Oh, the other thing is, you guys, we are going to change the time of the team call. We've been doing 8 p.m. in the summer, but I have kids in soccer and I won't be home until like 8:30, 8:45. So for sure, I'll be here with you guys, 9 p.m. Eastern time. We've done the meetings at 9 p.m. Eastern time in the past, so we're just pushing it 1 hour, okay? So that may be better for some of you, dinner, bedtimes, all those things. Hopefully you guys can make arrangements for that. And then I'm gonna stop talking now. I could tell you, like, there's tons of updates, tons of things going on, but I want to take advantage of this time that we're here together and introduce our dear, many of you guys know her. Some of you guys work together with her, success partners, teammates. Brandy is an amazing, amazing leader. She's such a hard worker. We've connected since the early days when we joined. It's right. It's like, we're still here. We're doing this. And when I was thinking, after I heard about the promo this weekend, I was thinking, okay, who do we have in the team that is somebody that is consistent, somebody that can share a light? And your name popped in my head, Brandy, because you've always been consistent. You're always showing up. And the fact that just recently you bought your home, and knowing that Zaya was a big part in you being able to accomplish the American dream, the dream that we'll have to have our own home, and you have your own home for your babies. They're not babies, they're a little bit grown now, but your kids, that says a lot about you and your work ethic and how much you show up for yourself, for your family, for your team, for everybody. And not even your team, but I know how much other girls like love you and love working with you and being your success partner. So I want to introduce our dear Brandy, executive rep on our team, and she's gonna share with us a little bit about her story, and she's gonna give us some ideas of how we can tackle this and earn this Gold Diggers Challenge based on what she's done consistently throughout her Zaya journey. So Brandy, I'm gonna be quiet now and take it away.
Okay. You seriously made me cry just then. Oh, yes.
Don't cry.
Thank you for inviting me to do this. That is really an honor. And I love my Zaya story because it is not anything I ever would have imagined for myself. First of all, being in direct sales, but just needing it the way that I have. And I always say God put it in my life because he knew that I was going to need it, and I definitely have. So just to give you a little background on me and kind of how I came into the business, I'm actually from West Tennessee. I grew up there, went to school at Murray State, which is in Kentucky. I got my master's degree in occupational safety and health. So anybody that's ever heard of OSHA, basically, I make sure that we follow OSHA regulations. So there are not many women in that field. So that's kind of been one of the things that I have noticed as I've gone through my career. And I look back on it now doing Zaya, and I can see where some of that success comes in, because one of the ways I've always been successful in my safety career is I build relationships with people. It's very easy in that field to go out and say, here's what the rules are, and you've got to wear this and you can't do this. But once you kind of build those relationships with people and you get them to understand maybe why they have to do something, they're much more likely to do it and be okay with it. So that's kind of how I've correlated, success in both of these things. But I did move to Evansville, Indiana after college to do an internship. And then I met my husband here. We got married. We moved back to Tennessee, to Memphis, and lived there for 7 years. And I worked in the pharmaceutical industry in the safety field. And then we ended up moving to North Carolina. So at this time, I've had 3 kids in 3 different states. So my oldest was born in Indiana, my middle was born in Tennessee, and then my daughter, my last one, was born in North Carolina. So when we get to North Carolina, my company, they had kept me on remotely because they thought, well, we'll let her work from home. And we were hoping there was like a regional role I could go into. And basically that just wasn't happening. So here it came. I was on maternity leave for a little while, and then I kind of went back into work, and it was coming up on March of 2018. And they had to basically say, okay, you're going to have to quit now, or, we can't continue the remote role. So at that time I'm thinking, wow. And I had basically been home with my babies for 6 months, since August, and it was March. So yeah, a good while. And I'd never considered myself somebody that wouldn't be working, but I enjoyed that time, having a baby, and then being able to take my oldest to kindergarten and do the things that I got to do with him. So At that time, then Becky, who was my upline, had reached out to me, and she had just joined Zaya, and she asked me, hey, would you want to host a party? Well, at that time, I've always worked out. I've always been into health and fitness. So I've always loved activewear. And of course, being at home, being a nursing mom, just being home all day, that's all I was wearing. And I had started wearing Lululemon because my husband actually kind of got hooked on it, which gave me an excuse to buy it. And I really, liked the quality. I liked how it fit. So I was like, yeah, let me host a party. And I started putting names together of all these people. And I was like, I have a lot of friends I think that would like this. And so I said, you know what, I'll just go ahead and jump in and do it. And this was back at the time when the starter kit was like $450. Like, it was a lot more than it is now. Of course, you got a lot of stuff, but still, it was a big chunk of money for me to say, hey, I'm not working right now, but I'm going to go spend, like $500. But I did it, and kind of told my husband afterwards, like, hey, I'm doing this thing. And he wasn't super supportive of it. I've never really done direct sales. I did do Advocare. But at the time, I only did enough to get up to the advisor level to get my discount. I never really sold it. But the neighborhood I lived in North Carolina, there was a couple there, and they are two of the top ranking people, and I'm pretty sure they still are, in the Nerium and that skincare. And I kind of saw through their social media how they were promoting their stuff and kind of how they were acting. And I was like, this could be something interesting to try. Cause I kind of started following them, even trying to do some of my Advocare stuff, even though I wasn't really selling it. So I get my kit in, I have some early success just with some people being interested in buying it. And I had a party pretty quick, and I immediately made my money back, which was awesome. And I had a girl join me within that next month or so. And this was April 2018 is when I joined. So by June, I ranked up to junior rep. So I did have some, quick wins there and some steady advancement. But at that time, I still wasn't thinking of myself as a business owner or really making a business out of this, because in my mind, I've got a career field and I don't really have a job until I go back to that corporate world. And this isn't really, I've seen other people have success in this, but it's not me. So around June is when my husband took a job back to Evansville, Indiana, which again is where he is from. So we picked up and moved back here, and we got separated. So here I am back in Indiana where I don't want to be. I don't have a job. I'm separated. Yeah. So all this is going on. And I can tell you, I am so thankful that I had Zaya. Right then is when I started realizing how thankful I was, because I went to the mini summit in Dallas, which was, I don't even remember when it was, but that really showed me more of that connection, that community that we had. And I was able to grow from that. So here I am in Evansville. I still haven't found a job. And I ended up taking a job at our local gym and just was working front desk. But I'm like, well, this ends up being perfect, because then I start meeting people. I'm wearing my Zaya every day. And I'm like, well, I mean, how much better could it get? Now, let me tell you though, Evansville, to me, it's a huge town, because I'm from a town of 800 people in Tennessee. I mean, it's tiny, but Evansville, it's a huge town to me, but then it's not really that big, I guess, when most people look at it. But there are a lot of reps in Evansville. Basically, my whole upline, they're all in Evansville. And so, even working at the gym, a lot of people would come in and either they're already a rep or they're a rep under somebody else, or they buy from a rep. Or so even though to me it's a big town, there was still a lot of people here that, that sold it. So at this point though, I'm working at the gym. I moved to the billing office at the gym. So I'm like, okay, this is working. And I'm able to get an apartment. And if I would have just had my job at the gym, I would not have been able to pay my bills. I mean, to go from making a six-figure income to making $15 an hour is a huge jump. And then to still have kids to be responsible for, and, just all the things that entail with that. I would not have been able to do it without Zaya. But one thing that I have done, and thank you for mentioning this, but is I've been consistent. And I don't know where that came from. I don't know why I just started, because I know initially I started seeing what other people were doing, and I'm like, oh, I'll do that and that. One thing that was very easy for me to do was just take a picture of what I was wearing every day. And so I just started doing that. And of course, as my wardrobe ended up increasing, I just did that every single day. And I would take a picture. Even now, this is what I do. I take a picture of what I wear to work. I take a picture of what I work out in. Or if I'm just lounging around with the kids on the weekend, I'll take a picture in my joggers. But every single day, I know that my VIP group is going to be looking for, what are you wearing that day? And I put it on my stories every day too. That way people not in my VIP group see, they'll see it also. And I've had people reach out to me. I've had husbands reach out to me. Hey, I know you sell this. I want to buy something for my wife. And that is just simply from seeing my pictures. So I did start growing a team, pretty soon, but I had several reps that came on and left. And then I've had several that have stuck with me for a long time, but it wasn't until March of 2020 when my business really took off. And that is when I had several people kind of all at the same time join my team. And let me tell you, 4 of these people that joined within this month time frame are all from my little tiny hometown. Now they all don't still live there, some of them do, but that just goes to show you that you can have a small, tiny group of people, but you can expand on that beyond that. So don't think you're oversaturated, because there's always ways to make it work. So at that time, Kayla joined my team, and she is my top seller. She's basically the top seller everywhere. So and let me tell you, Kayla and I grew up together. I'm a little bit older than her, but she had bought things from me. I had never thought to ask her about joining. Just like you were talking earlier, you've got customers that are bought, but have you ever presented them with the opportunity? I prejudged, and I said, she's got kids, she's a basketball coach, she wouldn't be interested in this. And I just never asked her. And so once we had a party, and the party was like $5,000, I was like, what would you think about doing this? So, and it just took off from there. So, that is one thing I am so grateful for, and that it makes me kind of step back, and it makes me ask other people that I haven't asked. And I'll get a lot of no's, but that's okay, because at least I know now that I'm asking. I've had somebody that is on my dream list. She's a yoga instructor, and I just know she would do amazing with this. I've been asking her for 3 years now. And this past week, she commented on something and said, okay, I'm ready now. Now, I don't know if that means she's ready to join or just ready to try the clothes, but either way, it's like 3 years later, finally, and it's not like I'm constantly nagging her, but every several months or so, I might just shoot her a message and just throw it out there. So just keep that consistency is definitely something. Personal development is something that I have gained from this whole journey too. Throughout my corporate career, I have always got a lot of leadership type of training and done a lot of this kind of personal development training, but it's always been centered on, development kind of as a manager, as a leader at work. And there's bits and pieces you can take from that, but this work that I've done over the past 3 years with personal development, that has changed my whole perspective on life. Our divorce was not final. We were separated for over 2 years. The divorce was not final until this February. So that's a lot of limbo time, and there's still a lot of limbo there. But doing all this personal development I've done has allowed me to be in the mindset that I need to be to stay positive and to not get sucked into like a very negative place, or sucked into kind of things that I don't want to be where I was in that relationship. So if you're not doing personal development, do something. I started off just by listening to a podcast on my way to work. I still do that. Follow those people on social media, go to all these trainings, because it's all of this, it adds into those things that starts to change your mindset, because that is truly what you have to do. So in October of 2020, I also hired a coach with the Higdon group, and a business coach. Now, at this time, remember, I have got back into my safety field, but and right now I just finished a year back within that field, but I'm a safety consultant. I'm not in a role that brings me a lot of joy. It's kind of just a very boring job that I'm doing. I do not feel like I am being used to the best of my abilities. I don't feel like I'm contributing a lot. So there could be a lot of bad emotion that would come with that if I didn't have Zaya to bring me the joy that I have. But it is something that I have needed in this time of my life, like to get approved to buy a house and that sort of thing. So I am very thankful for it. But in October of 2020, I'm still in a place where I'm in an apartment. I'm doing well with Zaya, and I'm wanting to continue that. I've got this job now back, in my career field, but it's still an hourly job. I was a 1099 doing that. So I wasn't a salary employee. So, if anything was to happen, it's not guaranteed that I'm going to have something the next day. But I decided in October, I want to make this Zaya work. I want to keep building my business, because, Kayla could go away tomorrow. That team, I don't want her to, but, I can't put everything on one person saying, look how much our business has grown. And then, she decides she wants to step away. I want to continue building out, and continue that growth in those ways too. So I hired this business coach. It cost a good chunk of money. And it was money that I probably at the time, if you're realistically looking at it, probably you'd be like, why would you spend that money right now? But I saw it as a way to continue the growth that I was making. And with any job, career, anything that you do, you're going to continue your education. I've got a professional certification, and I have to continue my education in order to keep that. So, I've got a master's degree, but it doesn't just stop there. It continues on after that. So I kind of looked at it from this point, like, with direct sales, you've got so many options of how you can do it. Do I want to make this just a side hustle and keep it where it's at? Or do I want to make it my main thing? And if I want to do safety, then I can do it, but I don't have to do it. And that's kind of how I looked at it. So I hired this coach, and that kind of connected me with an inner circle of other Zaya girls that had hired coaches too. So that's a really positive thing that came out of that, because we could look at each one of our coaches, give each other feedback on what they were telling us, how we were incorporating things in our business. And I just love that group of ladies that we have been able to grow together with and, support each other. And it's just been really an awesome opportunity. So when I hired her, I really started embracing more of how do I be a team leader? Because at this point, my team has grown. Right now, we're at a team of 91. So we had grown probably back in October. We were probably 80 something. At this time, I was not having any kind of team calls. I didn't have any type of really mechanism to even communicate with my team. And I went from knowing everybody on my team to not knowing, half the people on my team. So, that's when I started, okay, we've got our own Facebook group now, and we've got some, calls here and there, and we've got some, more communication that we're doing one-on-one with each other. And so hiring this coach really helped me to understand how I wanted to be a better leader and how to start implementing those things. Because I think all of us kind of struggle with the recruiting piece, and we all do it and we all find different ways to do it. But I don't want to constantly be thinking about recruiting. I want to grow the people that I have and make sure that they're getting the things that they need, and not just go recruit somebody and then drop them in and say, here you are, let me go find somebody else now. So that's what I've really started doing over the past 6 months, is trying to implement a lot more of that leadership. And let me see, my VIP group is now probably about 530 people or so, which to me is big. And I have found so many amazing people through that VIP group. Like I said, I'm very consistent with what I do in there, with my daily post. They know what things are going to be coming, the way that I present them. They know whenever I have a promotion, they figured out how I communicate things. And I have got some really, really loyal customers that are people I have never met, that since probably two and a half years ago, when I really got into having parties, they have become loyal customers to me. And I know that they probably know somebody else now that sells Zaya, probably somebody that they are friends with, but they continue to be great, loyal customers to me because we have built that relationship. So like I said earlier, that has been a huge part of who I am, is building those relationships with the people that I'm working with. And essentially that's what you're doing. You're working with these people. So last March, I did mention this earlier, but that was the month everything kind of clicked for me. That's when I had some great parties with Kayla, and she joined. 2 other awesome girls joined. I hit senior director that month. I earned the trip to Jamaica, which honestly, I was not even trying to earn it, and came up, like, actually Ann Cunningham mentioned to Tess, like, hey, I think Brandy's probably pretty close. And sure enough, I was like 2 points away, and I made it happen. So just seeing that I was able to do those things when I never would have for myself thought that I would have been able to, really changed my perspective on, hey, you can do this. This can be your business. You don't have to be ashamed of it, because like I said, my husband never supported me. He didn't look at it as a real job. But I don't have to worry about that, because I know what I'm gaining from it, and I know what it's doing for me. So that really just changed my perspective. Another thing I did start doing was, I did mention this to my coach. We were talking about how hard it was for me to get into the routine of doing what we call like our daily method of operation. So setting those set times of when I would reach out to people and when I would create social media posts and all that. And I was like, the kids aren't with me on these days. I have more free time. Why am I not able to do it? Like, it just wasn't making sense to me, because I couldn't make myself get up earlier in the mornings when I used to get up and work out at 4:30 every morning and then get the kids to school and then go to a corporate job. And I'm like, why can I not do this? And she's like, well, you did all of that then because you knew you had other responsibilities, and those things mattered to you. And you felt like that was worth it for you to get that in early in the day so you could make time for all these other things. And she said, basically right now, you're not feeling like why are you not worth it just to do it for you? And so it really made that click in my head, like, wow, like me getting up early and doing these things, that's showing me that I'm worth it, instead of putting it off throughout the whole day and then just not doing it and going to bed mad at myself. So that's something that changed my mindset too. And I guess one of the last things I'll say is doing some of the other training through Bob Heilig. I forget what training this was. It was one of those he had not too long ago. But of course, he talks about the red light and the green light stories. And I know a lot of us have heard or gone through that. But one of the things that I realized during this was one of the fears that I have of people joining my team. And I think why I'm afraid to reach out to some people is because I'm afraid I'm going to fail them. So I recognized that as I was going through this training, like, why does it make me nervous to reach out to somebody, or somebody that I find kind of intimidating, or maybe somebody that I know needs this in their life, but I'm afraid to present them the opportunity. And I realized, just thinking through that, like, I'm afraid I'm going to fail them. They're going to take out a chunk of money, maybe that's hard for them to take out, and they're going to invest it in here. And then are they going to be successful? And then am I going to feel like it's my fault if they're not? So that's something that I've started changing also, because okay, if I'm doing the right leadership things and I'm putting the time in to set them up for success, it's not my responsibility if they don't do those things. But I can't let that fear hold me back from inviting people into the opportunity. So I've kind of been all over the place, but I think that's kind of the biggest gist of my story. So if you got any questions, just let me know.
Okay, Brandy, that was so good, super helpful. You weren't all over the place. that was really good. And I saw many of you guys taking notes. I just a couple of things that stood out for me. And you guys, if you have asked questions to Brandy, like right now, we have her there. She's right here. She can definitely answer.
Sorry, before you go on, like Paula said, I forgot to totally mention this, but I'm sitting in my brand new house that I just bought all on my own. And I cannot tell y'all how happy this makes me. And I would not be doing this if it wasn't for Zaya. So, yay!
Come on, everybody. Let's give it. There's like a emoji to clap. Yeah. Look. There's
no more apartment.
Yeah. How cool is that? And what an inspiration for your kids too. Like,
yes,
they are seeing their mom fighting for them.
Yes,
fighting for herself. Like,
and actually on Mother's Day, my oldest son, he wrote me this letter thing that they did at school. And the one thing he said on there was, "You're working 2 jobs to try to buy a house for us." So he sees Zaya as a job for me, and he recognized that. So
yeah,
that was
he recognizes your achievements and your hard work, and that you're making sacrifices for a better life for the 4 of you. So that's pretty powerful. I'm seriously, I don't lie and I don't exaggerate when I say I am super proud of you, inspired by you, and there is a reason why you're here right now. And I hope that you guys find hope and inspiration in Brandy. I want to say she's this extraordinary, like she is, but at the same time, I want to say she's just like us. She's just like you. Like, there's no reason why you can't go after your dreams, or that your dreams can't happen. She said it. This is the first thing that I wrote down, that you saw others achieve success, but you never thought it was possible for you. Did that change now?
Absolutely.
Right?
Especially after going from being highly recognized in my career and in the corporate jobs that I had, and I got a lot of satisfaction out of that. And then not having that, this is where I've got some of that, whatever you call it, some of that that's fulfilled that for me.
Fulfillment. Yeah. The achievement. And the other thing that stood out, the personal development part, which is just to bring back, because that is something that is so key for me. And you're right, it is something that it's not just for your Zaya business, but it just pours into other areas of your life, your relationships, your work, your, how you handle stress or issues at home with your spouse. Like, it totally changes you. Seriously, guys, invest in yourselves. 10 minutes a day. I recently got a book that I'm going to start reading once I finish the one I'm reading right now, but The Magic of Thinking Big. Has anybody read that one? If you want a book recommendation, that's one. I just got it delivered yesterday. I haven't read it, and I feel like I'm a loser because I think everybody in the world has read that book. Never have. So definitely something to consider if you guys are looking for an option, something to read. And then what else? If you guys have questions, bring them up. You can take, oh yeah, look, so Rachel is saying, what's your personal development book recommendation? What's one that you're like, wow, everybody needs to read this? Or a podcast or
well, so being a mom of 3, I don't read a lot, but I do listen to a lot of podcasts. So I've just started listening to the Tony Robbins one, which is really good. The Higdon, so Ray Higdon's is another one that I've started off with I've listened to that one forever. And then I've kind of found some, there's like some women that are like in the fitness world. And I can't think of their name right offhand, but they don't necessarily talk about like direct sales, but it's always an inspirational type of message and motivating in the way of like setting your goals. The Jasmine Star one, I've listened to that one actually this morning, and that one's a really good one too.
So if I'll give you guys a recommend, something that was helpful for me, one of the biggest helpful tools in the beginning, when I needed to open my mind and my vision and start building belief, was the Lewis Howes podcast, The School of Greatness.
Yeah.
And I would say, go back years ago, like listen to like the first ones, because like now he interviews like bigger people. I don't know, I feel like lately I don't feel as interested in listening to them, not that they're not good, but it's something about, go back like 4 or 5 years ago, it's people that are gonna sound like, right now you're gonna be like, oh wow, that's impressive. Like, so I don't know, but if you listen to these ones now, it's fine too. But it was,
and if you just need some motivation, listen to Trent Sheldon.
Oh yeah, Trent Sheldon,
amazing.
The thing that I like about Lewis is that he interviews people. So he interviews people that have overcome things, and something that happens when we hear other people's stories, obviously there's takeaways from that and it's great to see it, but it starts in our subconscious. It starts building this belief like, oh, if those people have gone through all that stuff, or you say, oh wow, I went through that too, if they overcame that, I can overcome it too. It's like something just starts building up. Jen, you want to share something? Because I see you, you're like, hey,
yeah,
I'm in there. I agree.
I 150% agree. His like earlier ones were so impactful and it had a huge impact on me. But I wanted to share something, and I kind of talked about him in a short video I did on IGTV. And I heard Brandy kind of touch on this too, where there's this lack of like, you look at other people and you're like, oh, you did it, but like, you know, I could never do it. Like, you know, you look at somebody who's like really far ahead of you in Zion, you're like, oh, she's an executive, I could never be that. She got there because she had all these other circumstances. And one of the things I love about especially his earlier stuff is that every single one of these really successful people across like diverse fields in their own spaces has their own story, all their unique circumstances. So no matter what, you're like, okay, no, like, it doesn't matter what your circumstances are. How do you make the most of what I have? You know, so instead of the having that mindset of like, oh, they could do it, but I could never do it, you switch and you're like, no, I can. And what do I have that, that I can build on? So I love that recommendation, because I think like it, you start to see like everybody has a different story. Everyone has things that have been in their way. And if you really have grit, or, they tell you lots of good, different, like, techniques and stuff that they did, but, you can achieve your dreams. You can make it happen. So.
Yeah.
I love that.
One of the ones that just comes to mind, and you guys that were in the Orlando event, you heard me say about, heard me talk about it, but Wilmer, the guy from that 70s show, the Hispanic guy, Wilmer Valderrama Fez. Did you guys watch that show? Yeah, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, I didn't know his story. So I remember I was training for some kind of race and I was listening to this episode. And I didn't know how he came to this country with his family. He didn't know any English at all. And just how the things he went through to learn English, to pursue his dream of acting. Like, I get chills just thinking about it. And I heard this like 4 years ago. But that, to me, it was like, wow, I don't have to go through all of that. I already know the language. Why wouldn't I be able to also pursue and go after my dreams? If he could do it, I can do it too. Like I could relate. He came from a country from Latin America right next to the country where I'm from. So for those of you that are immigrants, I suggest that one. If you're not, that also, you'll find value in that. But anyway, to make the point, personal development, make it a priority. You're going to be telling that story. You're going to be telling other people about how personal development impacted your life so much if you haven't incorporated it yet. Sometimes we just need a little pick-me-up. And that's what personal development is going to do for your soul, for, you grow, you learn, you find new challenges, you find new ideas of content, what to post. Sometimes you're like, I don't know what to post. I don't know how to handle this. You'll find so many resources from books and audios and podcasts and all of that. And something else that I think many of us have thought about, and is the fear of failing people. And you mentioned Bob, and Bob said something the other day. I always feel that way. Like, as much as I want to be happy and proud and celebrate everybody that's having success, it's always in my mind and in my heart. Like, I put my head in the pillow and I always think, how can we help more people? How did I do this wrong? Did I do this? Maybe I'm not doing enough. Like, it's always kind of like we're beating ourselves up. I don't know if this happens to any of you guys, but that's me. And I wake up thinking, like, it's always in my mind. But Bob did say something that was really helpful. And it was, do you take credit for the people that are having success on your team? You've been a part of it, right? And sometimes we're like, oh no, she's just amazing. I didn't have anything to do with it, right? Like, so he said, well, if you're not taking credit for the people that are having success in your team, why are you taking the credit for the ones that are not? Or for the ones that just joined because they wanted to be part of something? The reality is nobody, like, I could sit here and tell you guys to invite and do parties. Like, we do that, but it's really up to you. I can't make you successful. We can't. Brandy being here, like, something may click today for some of you and you're like, oh, and you run, or it's like, just like, yeah, I'm on the right track or whatever. But for some people, it's going to take longer. And it's not, oh, Brandy, like, it was Brandy, like, right? Like, she's not going to take the credit for the, if we don't take the credit for success, the success of people, then we shouldn't be blaming ourselves or feeling guilty for the lack of success of people. So our job is to present the opportunity to people. The people that want to be successful, they will be successful. They will find the resources. They will reach out to you. They will ask you questions. They will plug into the resources, the community, everything. Some people just join because they want to be part of something. Some people just join because they just want the discount. Some people join because they want to tell you yes. They were afraid to tell you no. That's the reality. But it doesn't mean that you're failing them. Right? If you're doing the right things, if you're showing up, leading yourself, that's a big part of, being there for people. So don't let that stop you. it is normal and it is going to happen. So I'm not gonna tell you, oh, it's not gonna be there again. It happens. Just try to think about it in a different way. Like we can't make people successful if they don't want to be successful. So Air Hug Community. Oh yeah, Judy has a podcast. Air Hug Community Podcast. I have a podcast too, and I have to record more. But I have four episodes up there. Tracy has a podcast. Who else? So I think, yeah, there's a lot of resources. Definitely make it a priority every day. You guys have questions for Brandy? What? Anybody? Go ahead, take advantage. Ask her. No, I would ask her what's her DMO, like what does she do? What are 2-3 things that are a must for her, for that are business? No, I don't know. Like I want to know. Come on. Anybody want to ask her a question?
Do you mean tell you that how my schedule is laid out for the week?
Yeah.
My DMO.
There you go.
So I put this on my calendar, and I kind of mentioned earlier, it was so hard for me to nail down a time because I think I'm a very black and white person. And I kind of thought like it has to be done at the same time every day this way. And finally, I just put it on paper and I said, I'm just going to put it out there and figure it out. So I did. So every single day I have a little mark on my calendar where I write DMO. And my DMO is I spend 15 minutes and I set a timer. So 15 minutes of reaching out to people, asking about the opportunity. So that could be brand new people, cold messaging. Usually that's spent with cold messaging. Sometimes I'll go through my friends list if there's people I haven't reached out to before. Mm-hmm. And then I'll set a timer for 15 minutes and do follow-ups. So this is mainly follow-ups to people like that haven't responded to my initial message. So just kind of checking back in. Hey, did you see my message? That sort of thing. And then I'll spend 15 minutes of personal development and then 15 minutes of creating something for social media. Doesn't mean I'll necessarily post it at that time, but I either do some ideas and get some stuff together, or I'll go ahead and post something. But every day I have that DMO on my calendar for, Monday through Friday. On Tuesday and Thursday, I also put on my calendar to do a curiosity post. So a curiosity post would be something that you post that kind of gets people interacting with you. It could be about the business, or it could be kind of about, more than just the business, but it gets them asking questions, like wanting to know more of what you're talking about. So I try to do that on Tuesday and Thursday. And then on Tuesdays, I also have where I'll do follow up with or team reach outs to people on my team. And then on Fridays, I'll do customer follow-ups. So everybody that has purchased and received their things within that past week, I make sure I follow up with everybody then.
And at that point, do you ask them if they want to host a party and things like that?
Yeah, when I do their follow-up, yeah.
Okay. And during the weekends, do you do anything?
During the weekends, I kind of keep it open because that's when my life is really crazy on the weekends with the kids and 2 traveling baseball teams. But that's when I do a lot more of, I would say, interaction kind of on my VIP page, and then kind of looking for people to host parties. I'll do that. It seems like a lot more on the weekends, thinking or reaching out to people that have purchased in the past, and not as much recruiting, more just like looking for people to host parties.
Okay. That's good. That's helpful.
How many parties a month? So I am embarrassed to say last month I only had 1 party, but it was $1,000 party. But I still had, I think over $3,500 in sales last month with just having one party. So my VIP group has became pretty strong from that standpoint. Typically though, I would say that I typically have 3 to 4 parties a month.
Mm-hmm. So that's one good thing, you guys, that I just want to give you like some thinking into the, like, if you put this consistency right now, if you go for this bonus, you are going to add more people. You will get to a point where your VIP group or the people in your Facebook, your stories, your Instagram, you'll get orders from there. Like you wake up and you have an order. Like you will get to that point. You just have to put in the dirty work right now, which is not dirty, but like the tough work right now, and that consistency and that momentum. And then a year from now, I'm telling you, you will have just people coming to you. People, like, you don't have to do a lot of parties. I personally don't do a lot of parties. I do 2, 3, 4. There are times where I'm like, oh my God, I feel like my VIP group is like, they have everything already, and they don't. There's always people that you can find, and that's why it's important. Last week we talked about posting on social media. I sent you guys the recording from last week. If you missed it, watch it. We have some ideas there about how to be consistent in a world without parties. Like it doesn't mean you're gonna do this or this, but you can do both. Brandy was sharing that she posts on stories, she posts on this. Look, so if you don't have any parties, doing this is going to help you get more parties, or it's going to help you get sales if you don't want to do parties. Okay, so hopefully that works. And then our last question here from Tanya: any special tips or strategy to work the Goal Digger Challenge next 3 months? Is that?
Yeah, somebody tell me. No, I mean, I kind of, as soon as it was announced, I think I started that mindset shift, like, because it's very easy to quickly go to that place, like, how am I going to get that many people? Like, so every time that thought keeps coming in my head, because it still is a couple days later, I stop it and I say, no, you will get this many people. I've already started thinking of people that I've reached out to in the past, and where I was slacking some in my DMO, where I wasn't reaching out to people every day. I'm doing that. No matter what, I'm going to do that every single day. If it's only for that 15 minutes, then it's only for 15 minutes, but I'm not going to slack on that, because I want to do it early up front and get those communications out there. And you cannot wait till the end of the month and then try to cram it in and look for people. You've got to put the work in early and every day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what it is. It's the reach. Wait, what she said about the daily method of operation. Schedule right now, commit at what time every day you're going to do your work. Is it broken down into like 10 minutes here? I'll be honest with you guys. If you guys, during lunchtime, you go to have lunch with all your coworkers, this may be the time where you're like, you know what? I want to make this happen. I'm going to skip lunch being with people, and then maybe you already asked them about the business. Maybe they're already part of your team. Maybe you're already your customers and you need to find new people. Then that time, maybe hide in your office, hide in your car, eat your lunch, and get to work. Like 10 minutes and then go back. Maybe it's getting up earlier in the morning. I remember when I first started, those of us that have been here around, 3 years, a little more than that, we had this bonus 3 years ago when I started. And it wasn't this generous. Because of that bonus, our team is where it is. Because when I joined, there was this challenge and I was like, I want to see if I can hit that. Let's give it a shot. And we went for it. And those are the leaders. Tracy told me in Mexico, those of you that were there, that they said who was in Saya when we had this bonus 3 years ago. And the people that stood up are the highest ranked people in the company right now. So it was Tracy, it was Tess, it was Chrissy, it was Natalie Robinson. Those are the highest ranked people in the company right now. We were there when this happened. So you guys are going to be that if you go for it. Don't think, what if I fail? What if you fail? Like, I also know that I can fail, but I'm gonna try anyway. I'm gonna do what I can anyway. Does that make sense? So things that I'm doing, I'm going live more. I'm doing more live videos on Instagram. I'm doing more I'm posting a lot more. Like, if somebody's gonna get annoyed, I'm sorry, unfriend me, I don't care, I got goals to reach. So I'm not thinking, oh, I'm not gonna post too much because I'm gonna bore people or I'm gonna annoy people. They're not going to give you $5,000 bonuses. I'm sorry. If they're going to get annoyed, sorry, I got goals, right? We talked about it in another team call before where I said, be loud, best known beats best. Best known beats best. Right now, if you want to be the person that people go to get Saya, the people that you want to be the person, you have to be loud. If you're not posting in your VIP group daily, you're not going to hit this bonus. If you're not posting in your stories daily, you're not going to hit it. Like, you have to, if you're not reaching out to people every day, don't go to bed tonight without sending a couple of messages and posting something in your stories. That's it. Maybe you haven't done it throughout the day, do it. Like, get in the habit of making some things about your business non-negotiable. And I tell you, this will happen. It is not hard. It is simple. It's easy to do, but it's way easier not to do it, right? It's easy to do and it's easy not to do it. Do you guys post in past party groups? Right now, I will friend request all those people. I'm like, all the things. Heck yes. That's what I have planned for tomorrow. I'm going to go back to past parties, clean up some parties, see some people that I tagged and I said thank you, and start sending friend requests and offering them to do parties, to get free clothes for them. So yeah. If they're breathing, you're gonna message them. If they're alive, they need to be getting a message right now. Go through your Facebook feed. So here's the thing. Do you wear perfume? I'll give you guys an idea. Do you wear perfume? Ask people on your newsfeed what perfume they say. I'm looking for a new perfume. Which one would you recommend? If you guys saw my post on my newsfeed, that's what I'm talking about. There were like over 100 comments. Guess where I'm taking leads from my own post. Don't go stealing my leads, all right? Don't go, no. Like, don't go on other people's posts taking their leads. But when I say leads, it's like, oh my God, like you'll see people pop out of nowhere because people like giving their opinion. People want to help you. People want to help us. Like, you have an idea. People were sending me screenshots of their bottles of shampoo, of perfume. People were sending me like, did you get anything? Like, you know, there's nice people out there. It's something, you know, it's something exciting. So don't overthink it. Ask people, where can I buy my kids' backpacks? If you're in the market for a backpack, like, hey, where are you guys getting the kids' school supplies? I don't know. People love giving their opinions and ideas and be helpful. So don't be discouraged or, you know, thinking that people are going to say no, because you'll get a lot of people that will want to help you and support you. So, wow, let's wrap it up, baby. I'm going to go eat dinner. You guys, I love you. Thank you for showing up big for our girl, Brandy. Brandy, thank you so much. I'm so happy to seeing you. You're glowing. You know, it shows in your face that you're proud of yourself, that you are proud of the work that you've done, your team, and It's just a pleasure to have you here. So thank you, girl. Thank you, guys.
Thank
Great
you.
to see you. I love that. See you guys next Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Remember, you'll be getting an email. And if you want to join the WhatsApp chat, feel free to join. Everything is on the email. You also don't have to. It's a lot. It's a lot of notifications. Whatever. Bye, guys. Love you. Bye.